the first time you've been in the stadium, Clint?
I was here for one game during COVID. It was not a memorable experience, just because nobody was in the park. So I had friends that had actually bought a suite like a year prior.
Right.
And they invited 30 people to an event that we had as many people up there as might have been in the stadium. But I have not been back at all. So this is my first trip back really in the stadium, especially in the dugout. So
now that, I mean, we're pretty far removed from your time here. How do you sort of view that experience when you reflect on it now?
I'm thankful for it. One of the things I had shared publicly when I was given the opportunity to be the manager was our hopes were to rebond the city with its baseball team. And I believe we did that. And there were a lot of fingerprints on the success that we had collectively. We didn't get to where we wanted to go, the final destination, the World Series championship. This park became a hostile environment for opposing teams. That 3-year period in 13 and 15, I probably had as much fun in the game of baseball as I've ever had anywhere. And the fans made part of that happen, because the fan base, as you all know here, is so deeply passionate. So there's a lot of good feelings coming back, because we did a lot of hard together too. So it's just like an old friend, a real old friend I haven't seen in a long time, and I'm happy to see.
Have you been keeping tabs on them?
I follow the Pirates because Reynolds is here, Keller's here, and Kutch and I we're close. So from that aspect, I watch, see how they're doing, and Keller's hit a couple high marks. I'd reach out to him. Proud of what Brian's done on his own here, because we only had him 1 year, but Kutch and I have stayed closely connected over the years. But as far as anything else, no. Done a lot of scouting the last 3 weeks, prepping for the series that we had in Denver and for this one, but that's about it.
Can you tell us how did this sort of opportunity come about? Because looked like you were sort of happily retired, at least as far as I could tell.
As far as I could tell, I had been working for Bill, with Bill in the minor leagues, basically. Bill's history's in scouting, and most of my life has been in player development, so he was looking for me to kind of be a gatekeeper for the player development side of it, make sure the alignment programs, hitting, fielding, pitching are all in alignment, growing up our young coaches and managers in a mentorship type situation, watching our young players play. And I would go, as probably most people do now, you go for the 6 days. You travel on the Monday, you get in there, you watch them Tuesday through Sunday, you get to see everybody play, and you get to see everybody pitch. And I would see 2 teams a month, and I would report back to Bill and the group. So for 4 years, I got to develop a pretty good understanding and develop some pretty good relationships with our player development people and our kids. So I started off this year, my first trip was to Spokane and then to Fresno. And I got a call the Sunday night when I was getting ready to leave Spokane about our hitters in the big leagues, and I watched them and I did some evaluations, and he mentioned that he was looking for possibly to make a change in the hitting department, and were there any considerations I had for young hitting coaches. I mentioned a couple of our guys that I broke them down for him. I broke down the hitters and the big league thing, and I got a call the next day in Fresno thinking he was calling to tell me who they were going to choose and what they were going to do. And he said, well, after the evaluation process that you gave us, we just feel it would be best served if you would consider coming back and being a hitting coach. So I got a call from Bill, our GM. I got a call from our president, Greg Fiesel, and I got a call from Dick Monfort. I mean, 3 men I've known 30 years. They asked me if I would consider putting back on the uniform, and I said, you know what, I'm humbled, but that's going to be a question that's going to take some time to answer, because I've got other people in my life involved in this now. And Carl and I did a lot of talking, and I've always had a group of people in my life that I would throw things and bounce things off of that tell me this makes sense and tell me why this doesn't make sense. I got to a point where one of my good friends said, I just have one question for you. Will there be any regrets if you don't move on this opportunity? Because I had been offered opportunities prior to that I said no to. And you've heard me tell these stories on that other side. There's a farm story about when storms come. And the cows on the farm run from the storm thinking they'll get away from it that way. And it usually takes them longer, and they get rained on more, and they're scared the whole time. The buffalo that are out run straight towards the storm and head into it and get through it and work their way to the other side. So at the end of that, I just decided to run towards the storm because I knew we weren't playing very well, historically, bad. And the challenges would be real, and there would be heavy lifting, so it's not like you're going to Bermuda for 3 weeks. It just seems like what I've been built to do throughout my career, especially my coaching career. I've been in situations where I've had the opportunity to help build things, and I felt this was another one.
I mean, I don't want to say, I'm go ahead, Jeff, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was just saying, I mean, this is not the analogy I don't mean it the way it's going to sound, but like, I mean, are you a patron saint of lost causes in a way? I mean, just because of the situations you walk into seem to be suboptimal when you get there, and you almost seem like attracted. You have a skill set that seems to be, you know, sort of appropriate for that sort of challenge.
My wife actually told me, she goes, "You're built for hard." I've done hard personally, you know, and I've done hard professionally when I was a player and coaching in life, you know. Did some more hard a couple months ago while I missed the Pirates series when my mom passed. Maddie's just had a situation here where I thought I was going to have to stay in Denver and not make this trip. So I've done hard, and I know what that looks like, I know what it feels like, but I also know what it means to other people when maybe there aren't people that want to help. And more people want to throw more gas on the fire than help put out the fire. And I've always felt to be somebody that could just give your best effort and see if you can help make a difference. So you're not the first one to mention that a patron of lost causes. I've heard that quite a bit lately the last 3 months.
Clint, what's the dynamic like to return here with a manager who's a Pittsburgher?
I'm excited for Donnie's opportunity. Very excited. I don't know what it's like to be a Yinzer. I've had people that have reached out and told me, you know, I'm as close to being a Yinzer as an outsider could be from the time when I spent here, pouring into the community, spending time. But I can remember Neil talking about it, and I can remember Leland talking about his experience, Blas talking about his experience. So many of the guys that are in the Hall of Fame I got to spend time with, and the few that have been from here and got to pour back into here, it's people that don't know, you don't know Pittsburgh unless you've lived in Pittsburgh and spent time in Pittsburgh. And it's a very passionate place to be. So I'm pulling for Donnie. I reached out to him when he got the job. I thought it was really cool that he asked Gino to come back and give him provide some GPS for him. And there's always going to be a hole in my heart for the people here, the fans here, because you know we got close, but we didn't crack that nut. And to know how they reacted for 3 years, and to know what it can look like, I'm just hoping that happens again for somebody.
You got another one with Warren, though. You come back with Warren's from Greensburg, so he's.
Warren and I have talked long and hard about it. I mean, I was at Velazzi's a couple months ago doing an event, a one-day event in Pittsburgh where I was in and out, and Julian's brother played high school baseball with Warren. So Warren and I had multiple conversations about, as he said last night, we're coming through the tunnel. He said, the greatest city in the world. And I said, all right. I said, Warren, you'll get no argument here. I said, I just wish they would have left the lights on at the park for you.
Not to get too philosophical, but when you look back at your 9 years here, what would you like your legacy to be when people think of what you did here?
I don't think that does anybody any good with me trying to speak by what my legacy could be into existence, because everybody's got a different take. I'd like it to be known I gave it everything I had. My mom used to tell me that anytime I was on the phone with her, give it everything you got. I gave it everything I had in the 9 years I was here. The coaches that I worked with gave it everything they had. The players we had gave it everything we had. We gave it the best push we could give, and we got it close. And that's, I think people in Pittsburgh really respect that. We rolled our sleeves up and we went to work. Wasn't a lot of BS. There was many times when I'd tell them after the game, you people there, hey, I made a mistake. Hey, this didn't work out. It's on us. It's not on anybody else. We didn't make excuses.
Who else from those teams that you were on Pittsburgh do you still have contact with? Obviously, you spoke about Mitch.
There's, Barmas I stay in touch with, Mercer I stay in touch with, Jay Hay, when he retired, I reached out to him. There's Jason Grilly, there's a lot of people. There are still a lot of players that I stay in touch with. Travis Snyder, I mean, I could go on and on from that aspect. But the coaches also, still stay in touch with Mike, still stay in touch with Kevin Conrad, and a few of the others. But as I've told people that are close to me, this was one of the highlights of anything I ever did in the uniform, was being here through it all. Not just the three, really, but you can't experience happy if you haven't been sad. You can't experience good if you haven't been bad. And we've got all those emotions. We were probably able to run through the gamut. I probably gave the fans an opportunity to run through all those emotions with, so I'll still get notes from my Sunday lineup or my Thursday this or some, and I think, what, that's kind of cool because they're still holding on to some things. And the one thing that I still get a lot of, they just thank me for the effort of putting baseball where they felt it should be back in its proper place here in Pittsburgh for being a helper to do that.
You had success managing with that cap on. The situation that the club is in now, do you see any similarities at all to where when you got here? And I understand, you're in a different capacity, and who knows how long this is going to last. It's not an apples to apples thing, but the team was not in a great place when you got here. This team was not in a great place when you got here. Do you see any similarities, and what gives you sort of optimism for the future for this club?
Well, if you just do the science, when I came here in 11, they had just come off 2 seasons where they lost 212 games. We had over 100 game losing seasons here, and this year it became historically underwater. So yes, there's some similarities, and the one thing that we've continued to share with the players and talk about is you want to have a good team. It's each individual making a commitment to get a little bit better in one area today. It becomes a force multiplier, but you look at the big picture and it's overwhelming. But small bites, small daily wins in certain areas, and the fact that at the end of the day, if you want to be good at baseball, you need to practice baseball more. And we've actually turned this thing here. Warren has been a wonderfully strong leader through this big push when he got the opportunity. We're almost running an instructional league here during a baseball season, like you do in the minor leagues, like we did over there when I got here in 2011. We're just working at being better baseball players. That has been our biggest focus.
What are some of the traits that Warren has, or some of the things you've seen that you feel like makes him a good manager?
Tremendous energy, knows the game. He's defensive minded. He can tell you the hitting part was hard for him. But as strategist, he managed in the minor leagues, so he had abilities there. He was a third base coach here, speed of the game, tempo. The pitching part of it is always one of the trickiest for anybody because working with a major league bullpen, good bullpens make managers look smart. Bad bullpens make managers look not smart. But I love the energy, the preparation, the application. He wants to hear the coaches' voices. So it's been a joy. One of the biggest joys I'm having is watching a young man grow up in a situation and managing a young team through a very hard time, and the energy he's bringing and his ability to show up with a fresh face every day. He showers really well, and he shows up really good, and he's got a work ethic second to none.